Welcome to Academy of Contractor Licensing Application Service. I intend to go over your application and make this process a lot easier. Now, if you have any problems on your application, please give us a call and we'll be more than happy to go over it with you. Now, let's get started. Now, on line 1, it says full name of new business. Now, if you do not have a business name, then you would just list your name. Remember, if you do list a business name, you will have to include a tax ID number. If you're a corporation, you'll have a federal one. If you're a partnership, then you'll have that number listed on the other line. Now, in going through this, you have to list your classification, so that would be general building if you're getting a B license. You can put B general building or just B. Now, on the next line below, we have the mailing address, and you have to list one. If you're self-employed, then you would just list your address there. City, of course, state, zip code. Now, the other proposed business name, if you do not have that address, then don't list it. You can just leave that section blank. Now, you will have to include a phone number on that line. And then your fax number, of course, along with an email address. Now, in this next section, sole proprietor, if this license is just for yourself, then you would check that box. If you intend to have a partnership, then you will have to include the partnership on the next line A and line B. Now, on line 6, who will qualify for the new license? That would be, who's ever going to be taking the exam. The qualifying individual will be that person. If you happen to be that person, you would list your name in that box. Now, the percentage of ownership, if this is just a sole proprietor and your own license, you would list 100% there. If this is a partnership or a corporation and you're an RMO, you'd list your percentage there in line 7. Now, it says in line 8, qualifying existing and or previous California license numbers. If you have one, you'll have to list it there. Now, moving on down to line 9, the following must be completed by the individuals that are being listed on the license. So you must list your name, last name, first name, and middle name. Do not put an initial. You must put your full middle name there, and along with the birth date, social security number, and all the other basic information. Now, the additional lines are for corporations, B and C. So if you have partnerships or corporate officers, they'll need to include that information there. And moving on to the next page, questions 10 through 12 are rather straightforward. Any of the information listed on it, you just simply mark yes or no if it's pertinent to you. Now, on 13, the Registrar of Contractors has deemed that the direct supervision and control includes any of the combination of the following. Basically, they're asking, have you done any of this information on the job site? Yes or no. And it's that straightforward. Now, 14, everybody always wonders if they have to have $2,500 in their bank account in order to be eligible to get a license. Basically, they're saying if you have assets that are worth that amount, then you just simply mark yes or no. Do you own a car? Does your tool and equipment come out to $2,500? That would basically be the simplest way to get that answered. Now, don't forget to mark the date and cities, county, state, and sign the lines. Now, the reason there are additional lines here is for partnerships or corporations. If this is an individual, you just sign the top line and then print your name. On this page, page 3, this is the form where somebody has to sign off for your experience in the field. Now, if you're self-employed, you would simply check this box. If you've worked for a company during that time, then you would list that employer's name or the company name right there. And, of course, their address and city and state. Now, this portion here where it says full-time or part-time, this basically pertains to the level that you worked at during that time. If you've been working straight, then you would simply just mark full-time and mark the from and to, meaning when you began and when you finished working. And if there is part-time work, then you must deduct the time you weren't working. So if you started from, we'll say 1992, and you basically continued to do this part-time till 2002 during the 10-year duration, then when you total up your years and your months, you must subtract the time you were not working there. So over 10 years, if you're working on a part-time level, that would calculate to maybe 8 years, 5 months. Whatever the total may be when you deduct the time you weren't working. So Do not total the years and months as full-time. You must subtract the time you were not working there. Now, if you've been doing any owner-builder work, you must simply mark this yes or no. If it is yes, you'll have to include additional information on the jobs that you've done during that time. Times, dates, description of the job, the cost of the job, and the location of the job. And it wouldn't hurt to include a phone number of anyone that they can contact regarding your jobs. Now, on this next line, I know it gives you only so much space, but you must use it rather carefully. And we suggest in filling this out and just making it to the basics, essentials of the trades you've performed. So you could just list carpentry, framing, plumbing, electrical, drywall, etc. if you've done those, for instance, for general building. Other trades for drywall, you would just list the kind of drywall you've done there, and or for tile and so forth, you would list the kind of tile that you've laid, and so on. But make sure you list as many trades as you can within this area. The more you include, the better idea the state will have of your history in the field. And this will make their job so much easier to get an understanding of what you've done during the time listed. On the credits for completed apprenticeship programs, you list the beginning and the ending time for that, and also submit a copy of your apprenticeship certificate. Now, also, this is the section down here that someone's going to sign off stating they know of your experience. So, obviously, the name of the qualifier, that's your name as the applicant. And this person was either a fellow employee or employer, foreman, supervisor. You would mark whatever is applicable to your relationship with them. And then simply you would just list the additional information as instructed below with the name and the city and the state. So once they've done all of this and completed it thoroughly, then the certificate would be done. Now, you only need one certificate for self-employed experience or working for a licensed contractor. You do not need two certificates or more to prove your self-employed experience. One will be sufficient. So after you're completing all of this information listed here, then basically, to do this as simple as possible, we recommend filling out the upper half first, and then just have the person that's going to sign you off just simply fill out the bottom if they agree to it. Don't hand it to them blank and ask them to fill it out. It makes it much more cumbersome if there's corrections that have to be made. Then you'll have to go back to the person that signed this and have them make those changes. So once you've completed this whole certificate, then you would just simply take it and send it off to the Contractors Board and include the state fee for $250 made out to the Registrar of Contractors. Now, the address is also listed at the top of the address of where to mail it to. Now, regarding your experience, you can include college experience, and the state will give you credit for it, but they only take it on a case-by-case basis. So you would need to include your transcripts and a copy of your diploma, and when you submit your application, they'll assess exactly how much experience they'll give you towards that. Now, there's no guarantee on the amount that you'll be given, but it'll just be up to them, and whatever they come back with will just work for you. I would highly recommend including that, because the worst thing that can happen is they won't give you anything. But nonetheless, it is something you should include. And thank you for going through the video and viewing on how to fill out your application. Now, don't forget to fax it in to us. We'll be happy to review it for you. If you get the full course, we'll be calling you back the next day on that. If you do have the home study program, we will keep it on file, but we will not review it for you. That's the ins and outs between the two courses. So other than that, though, have a nice day, and don't forget to include the state application fee made out to the Registrar of Contractors. Thank you so much.